Greetings, fellow freelancers and game designers. Welcome to Tabletop Mercenary, a show where I intend to do my best to pull back the curtain and give everyone a behind-the-scenes look as to what it is that's going on in tabletop RPGs, and to give you the tools and tricks you need to jump into the trenches right alongside other seasoned mercenaries. For folks out there who may not know me or not familiar with my work, my name is Neal Litherland. I've been a professional RPG writer and designer for 10 years as of November 2023. My first publication was Blood of the Moon with Paizo Publishing, and since that time I've worked with almost a dozen other companies now, including High Level Games, TPK Games, Flaming Crab, Azukail Games, Arcanus Press, the list goes on. And if you want to type my name into DriveThruRPG, you'll find that, as of right now, I've got about 165 products with my name on them, though by the time this episode airs, maybe I will have added one or two to that, depending on release schedules. In addition to that, I also run the gaming blog Improved Initiative, where I've talked about things on both sides of the screen and on both sides of the publishing industry. I'm a novelist, I've been a reporter, a magazine writer, and a lot of other things, so I've been involved in various parts of the publishing industry for most of my adult life at this point. And because of that, I want to take all the things that I have learned and all of the experience that I've had, and I want to give it out to people out there who maybe you're thinking about getting involved in tabletop RPGs, maybe you're wondering whether or not something you heard is actually true, maybe you're just trying to figure out what it is that's going on with big events like what we had at the beginning of this year with the whole OGL kerfuffle with Wizards of the Coast. And I want to do my best to help people avoid the pitfalls and the traps that I've run into and to smooth out other people's gaming careers. Because it is a huge pain coming in knowing nothing and trying to figure out what it is you need to do in order to be successful. Whether success for you is just getting your game published and out there for people to play, or if you want to actually make a living doing this, which is something I've, by the skin of my teeth, just managed to do. But I wanted to establish, since this is a new show, what people should expect going forward and what you shouldn't expect to see on this particular show, as there's been a bit of miscommunication on the topic on social media where I've been trying to get some of you all into my lovely audience. But what you should expect going forward, I want to cover all the various topics about publishing and designing RPGs in this tiny corner of the publishing industry that we reside in. And that means I want to cover things like traditional versus self-publishing, pay rates for freelancers, either what you should expect to pay other people to help you work on your game or what you should expect to be paid if you're hoping to become a freelancer in the future. I want to cover various topics like what it costs to get art, the discussion around so-called AI, which will probably be its own episode. I'll even be reaching into topics like paid game masters or how you should approach conventions if you want to use that to try and further your career. I can even share a couple of stories that I've run into as a designer throughout the industry in all these years, and I'd like to reach out to other designers, maybe do some interview formats, get people on the show, and we can all have a bit of a Q&A, and we can see what it is other people's experiences have been like and what things they'd recommend you all do. What I won't be doing on this particular show, though, is this is about publishing and about creating and about dealing with all of those finicky things that you need to get your game from your mind out to the industry. It's not about being a game master. It's not about being a player of RPGs. I'm not going to be going through and recommending systems that are fun to play or things that are dealing with game builds. If I'm going to talk about a system, it's going to be from the publishing side as to whether or not you're allowed to use this particular system or what rules you have to follow if you're going to get on a community platform. Things like that. So I know that's not everyone's jam. Maybe that's not what you're here to listen about. I just wanted everybody to know going forward that's the kind of feeling we're going to have going forward, and those are the topics we're going to be covering. Lastly, now that I've established my bona fides and I've explained to you all what it is I'm going to be talking about in the next couple of episodes, I wanted to ask a favor from everybody who made it this far in the video and who is interested to see where I go with this. If you could, down in the comments, please leave me a question you've had about tabletop RPG publishing or about just being an RPG designer in general, whether it's about what sort of treatment we get from the public or from conventions, whether it's about how much money we make or what going rates of pay just generally are, whether it's about what things are like in the digital age versus what they were like back when it was all hard copy. I may not have personal answers to all of those, but I do know some folks who have been in the game even longer than I have, and I can reach out and get quotes and various answers from them as well. I'm not shy about doing homework if it's something my audience wants to know. So, that's what I need from you all, because I'm going to read the comments, my publisher's going to be reading the comments, and those are the things we're going to use going forward to shape what kind of shows that we do. So, I want to answer your questions. More importantly, your questions are going to tell me the directions I need to go in and the topics I need to cover more in depth. So, until then, this is your Tabletop Mercenary, signing off. First and foremost, thank you for staying to the end of this episode of Tabletop Mercenary. If there's a question you have about being an RPG creator, please don't hesitate to put it in the comments below so I can address it in a future episode. If you want to help me keep the lights on and keep this show going, then please consider subscribing to the channel, liking the video, and giving it a share on your own social media pages to help boost the signal. Lastly, if you really enjoyed this episode, please consider leaving a tip by buying me a Ko-fi or becoming a Patreon patron at the links in the video description below. You'll find me on both sites under the name The Literary Mercenary.